Greetings everyone, it is T2. I'm back again with a new video, and today I'm going to be telling you the secrets of the universe. That may sound strange, I know, but I was going to make a video about my yard update and whatnot, but I just woke up and I had this crazy dream last night, and either I figured out or it was revealed to me the secrets of the universe. So now I need to record what happened before I forget it, because that's how DMT works in your brain. You usually don't remember a lot of stuff, but I remember pretty much everything, I think. I mean, some of the beginning parts of the dream are pretty vague, but the main point about how the universe works, I remember because it was so staggeringly weird and makes sense at the same time. So I should probably just get right into it before I forget, instead of telling you all the things that happened, because there was a lot of, I think it happened because of a lot of things I saw yesterday, like on Facebook. Somebody linked a thing about which came first, the chicken or the egg, and they had like an evolutionary chart, and I saw one of those videos that showed like the Earth in comparison to the size of all these stars, and I was looking at Warcraft maps of like pre-cataclysm, post-cataclysm, how the map kind of changed, and there was part of my dream I was playing a video game or something like that, and there was a map in it, and something had changed the whole world. And then I was looking at the new map, and I had it oriented wrong. Like, whoever I was playing with said, "No, you got to turn it counterclockwise 90 degrees because the south's going this way now." And I was like, "Well, how do you know that? There's no way to know the orientation because there's nothing that's the same." They said, "Oh, well, the buildings kind of match up the old way. You kind of see the ruins or whatever, the buildings or something." I was like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense that way." So I don't know if all these things kind of clicked. There was also like an image I saw of like a big green spaceship, the back of a spaceship. I don't know if I saw that somewhere yesterday, or I saw it in an earlier dream, and then that helped click to this later dream that revealed the universe. It was so weird. All these things that just came together and it clicked. But the main part of the dream, I was like a cult leader in this dream, which I may become one now that I'm like the prophet of the new how the universe works. but in this dream I'm like a cult leader, and I'm in this prison or something, and there's these followers. We had to kill this guy for some reason, and like all these people came out and they all kind of stabbed him, like, you know how everybody will stab a guy so nobody knows who the main stabber was. It was one of those kind of things. So like we're all like running outside into the yard, and then I look up at the sky and I see the stars are like lining up. So then I was trying to tell somebody about this, and then it happened where everybody could see it, and then it became obvious what was happening. And in this dream, I don't know if like we were like human beings that colonized another planet, or we were on Mars, the moon, or something, and there's people there that could also confirm what was happening at the same time, or something like that. So then I had this idea in my head that what happens is everything lines up. This is like explaining how the Big Bang works, kind of. Everything lines up and it goes to the center of the universe. So then I was thinking about that more, like, well, the Earth can't leave the sun or we'd all die because we have no heat. We'll be out in the vacuum of space or whatever. So maybe the sun itself is like the spaceship. Like, you think about Earth, like we're all these people on a rock flying through space, like the Earth's a spaceship. But really, you have to have an engine. And the sun, the star that you're hovering around in your solar system, is kind of like the engine of a spaceship. Or, inside the star, there could be an actual spaceship. Maybe it activates at a certain point, and it shoots you to the center of the universe. Like, you know how people in these ancient alien shows will say, like, the Great Pyramids, they're always pointing at Orion's belt or some star. Like, they all line up with some star. Like, maybe those things, like every planet has a weird fucking anomaly that nobody knows what it is, like the Great Pyramid, and it's really just like the remnants of a connector, like a connection, like a pipe comes into it or something, and it connects Earth to another planet, so when we all come together, we're not smashing into each other or something like that. So then I think what the Big Bang was, and I hope the government doesn't know about this already, because if they do, then they're not telling people, and if they don't want people to know, then they might delete my video, and that would suck. And they might kill me also. If I come up dead and this video is deleted, then you know that all this is true and that the government already knew about it. But I don't think like there's some monk sitting around on a mountaintop in Budapest or somewhere. Not Budapest. What's that place? Over where the Himalayas are. Bhutan or something like that. And he's like meditating on stuff because he's not studying like physics and cosmology or anything like that. So I don't think people like that, like super religious people, would come up with this. I mean, I guess religious people would be right when they say that there's something behind everything, like something's controlling the universe, because I think that might be true. Because in this dream, and I don't know if this was revealed to me or I just came up with it on my own, like at the Big Bang. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with how the Big Bang is supposed to work. Like, people say that we were at an infinitesimal dot, smaller than the size of a period on a page. Basically, it's a geometrical point which doesn't have any size to it. In order for something to have size, you have to have at least 2 points. You have to have a point over here and a point over here, and you can say, oh, it's this long. Or if something's three-dimensional, you have to have, like, 3 of them, or in 2 different directions. So, just to say that the universe started out smaller than the size of a dot on a page is not really correct. Everything, like all the matter and the energy in the universe, has always been here. It can't be created or destroyed. That's a known scientific law. All the matter and energy that we have now is here at the beginning of the universe. Now, have you ever seen that movie Interverse or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where they take all the empty space out of something and it shrinks it, but it still looks the same? Which that wouldn't really happen, because if you remove the empty space, like I've talked about this before. This should be known to everybody by now, unless you're like new to my videos. I saw something describing an atom one time, and they said that the nucleus of an atom, if it was the size of a computer monitor, then the electron on the outside would be like 7 miles away, and it would be the size of like a dot on a pixel. So that's how much empty space is just in atoms. And then you take like this empty space between molecules and the space between molecules, and so there's a lot of empty space. Most of everything that exists is just empty space. So if you remove it all, matter would be super condensed. But I don't think that's how... When physicists take the math backwards from the expansion of the universe and they go back to the start, it looks like everything crumbles up into molecules, and those crumble up into atoms. The atoms crumble up into quarks and subatomic particles, and you just have a big staticky mass of flowing energy or matter, all kind of one big deal. I don't think that's exactly what happens. I think that we can't go beyond the Planck time. I don't know if like stuff had broken down at that point, like that we can prove that it actually breaks down. Because I think everything gets sucked into the center of the universe. Like if you ever played a video game where you have a spaceship and it has like drones, you can shoot out your drones, and you can like do scans with your drones, you can attack things with your drones, and you just suck them back into yourself. I think that's what stars are. And the stars kind of have their own kind of drones, which are the planets spinning around them. So, at the center of the universe, there's probably some super highly intelligent, enlightened society of beings that, or maybe it's just the universe itself as an organism, and we're like the organs of the organism, that it shoots out tendrils, and it learns things about what it is in the universe, and it evolves creatures that are kind of like figuring things out and becoming its brain, and then it sucks them all back in. Like in the dream where the stars had to align, it shoots them all out. Because this could be relatively easy to do. You don't have to have a whole lot of energy if you're not using thrust, like I was talking about with the stars having their own engines. But if there's just a way to manipulate space-time itself and stretch it out, and then rotate it and have things all like spread out different directions, and then line them all back up, and then suck them all back in. Like if you imagine a dartboard that has a bunch of random darts stuck in it, and all those darts suddenly just shift to where they're all lined up with the lines on the dartboard, and it sucks them to the center. So the Big Bang, I think, was not like some random act of nature. I think it was like, I don't know if there was before the Big Bang where we were all out doing this like we're doing right now. We're out like creating things and figuring things out and learning about the universe. And then we all got sucked back in, and we had like a big conference, some kind of sharing of information where everybody, like all the different planets that have civilizations on, we all get together, we all connect up, and then we put all our information into one place and we figure shit out, then we get shot back out again. So I think that's what happens. like a big Dyson sphere in the middle of the universe. Oh, my alarm clock's going off. Hang on. Oh, so what was I saying? About how it would be relatively easy to send out planets and stars and things by manipulating space-time. If you've never seen, I saw a video a long time ago that was describing how gravity works, and they were saying there were these theoretical particles called gravitons. Like, say you wanted to demonstrate gravity, you lift something up, and imagine as I'm lifting this book up that there's a dotted line connecting it to the center of the Earth, and as you drop it, it contracts, and you pull it up, all the gravitons that are in this invisible string here, they get stretched farther and farther out, so the farther up you pull it, the more tension there is on it, and then you let go and it falls. So that's kind of like how the Higgs boson, they kind of needed to discover that because it gives particles mass, and they still haven't discovered the graviton or really understand how gravity works or why it works. We just know it exists, or there is some force that we call gravity. Now if you're a flat earther, then you're going to say there's no gravity, but there's still some kind of force that we call gravity. They think it's related to the density and not to the invisible unknown thing that we can't describe yet. But basically, if you're stretching things out, pulling back in, what can we do with this information, I think is the next thing I want to talk about. What do we do about it now that we know? If it's true, like I think it's true, but it's just a dream, but was I shown this by the universe, or did I come up with it? I don't know. But one thing we could do, if there's a scientist out there watching this, I don't know if we have this capability, but if we could scan the inside of a star somehow and see if there's anything other than what we think is there. Like some kind of mechanical, something that could survive inside the furnace of a star. I mean, we all came from the inside of stars anyway, so it would make sense that that would be our spaceship to get back to where we came from, if we're all stardust, you know, like Carl Sagan said. But can't really, you don't know what direction the center of the universe is to look for that, because the universe doesn't really have a center, or that we can't tell where it is. I always thought it was like if you showed somebody a donut and said, okay, point to the center of the donut. If you point to the middle of the donut, there's nothing there, that's just a hole. So if you point anywhere on the donut, you can't really say that's the center of the donut because it's not like a Newtonian solid or whatever, but I don't know. Can't really figure out where the center of the universe is from our perspective. But if the stars start shifting and turning into straight lines, then we'll know something's about to happen. I guess we wouldn't be able to go past a certain speed because we'd have to be able to stay within the gravity well of our sun. It would just shoot off and just leave us out in the middle of space. But maybe that's not really how it works, because if you're contracting space-time, you're not really moving. It's like inflating a balloon. You wouldn't really be traveling. So it might be really quick to get up to the center of the universe. Relatively. Oh, another idea I had. Now this wasn't in the dream. This was me sitting on the toilet after I woke up. But I was thinking about that, which came first, the chicken or the egg thing. Now in the diagram they were showing like the turtles came before lizards and amphibians and whatever. There was a turtle egg, so the egg existed here, chicken existed here. I think the question was, does a chicken egg exist before a chicken exists? So here's an interesting thing. All organisms, I think, not just humans but animals too, we all have these bacteria living in our gut that we're dependent on. So we have these colonies of bacteria kind of living on top of us, kind of like we're living on top of the Earth. So maybe the Earth is eventually going to become alive at some point with all the cameras and the AI increasingly getting more and more of them, like it becomes like a nervous system or an optic nerve or an eye or something. And we're creating a brain or something for the Earth to become aware, to become an organism, to maybe then it'll just decide to shoot back to the center of the universe or something like that. So like, did the gut bacteria, like we all started simple like single-celled organisms, and then bacteria, and then like multi-celled organisms formed around those bacteria somehow? Is that how it worked? Or was there some organism that didn't have any bacteria, and how did it survive? Anyway, It's kind of beside the point. But like in the Matrix movie, they said the human beings are a virus, you know, but not really. We're more like a bacteria on the Earth. And we're like living in the stomach of the Earth or something. I don't know. So yeah, I think human beings are essential for this whole process to happen. Or whatever planet you're on that creates intelligence. It might be like a cephalopod, or it might be like another kind of ape, or it could be, I don't know, something like a dolphin or something that's smart, has a big brain. But we create a lot of intelligence, and then I guess some of the organisms die, but you can't really leave the gravity well of your planet, so you don't really go anywhere. It's like I've been telling people, like after my brother died, like you don't really leave the planet. Like you were always here at the beginning of time too. Like when dinosaurs were walking around, all the atoms that make up my body, the molecules and stuff, were still here. We've probably been drank and pissed out several times by like Genghis Khan and Jesus and whoever else, because the water that's on the earth that makes up our bodies has always been here. It's not leaving. It's not like it's shooting off out of our atmosphere and coming back. I mean, it's all still the same water that's been here for 4.6 billion years or whatever it's supposed to have been. So that's kind of a good thing, I guess. Like maybe all of our thoughts and things are recorded somehow. I don't really know how that would work. But you don't have to worry about death so much. I think it all kind of like takes care of itself. Kind of like when they say when you die, your brain dumps a load of DMT out so that you're like tripping balls and you don't feel any pain and stuff. I think everything just kind of works out how it's supposed to work out. You don't have to really worry about stuff. I mean, there are tortured people that's obviously really bad, and people that die in a fire that obviously seems like they're really hurting a lot. But for the most part, I think everything has a mechanism already in place to solve problems. What about this, guys? What about this? What if there's no super intelligent organisms at the center of the universe that are controlling everything, sending us out and sucking us back in? What if we did it, but we set like a timer or something, like after like, what are we at, like 13 billion years now since the expansion of the universe? Like once it gets to like 20 billion, that should be enough time for us to have evolved and learned some shit and suck us back in. And then, but then like who set the timer? Because we didn't evolve until 150,000 years ago. So don't really know how that would work. Maybe there's some planets that have organisms that set the timer, and they've actually been on. No, yeah, that could work. Yeah, that could work. I don't know, something like that. I'm close, guys. I'm close to figuring out the goddamn everything. I think I've got the main part of it down now. Secrets of the universe, how it all started, Big Bang's figured out. I mean, this is one giant leap for mankind, but one pretty good step for T2.